In this video, we are going to talk about 5 reasons you want to break up that actually have nothing to do with your relationship. I am Pauline and I am so happy you are here because that urge to break up or even thinking about breaking up can be so scary if you're not sure whether you want to or not, or whether you know you don't want to. So why are you thinking it? Why do you have this urge? There are reasons that have nothing to do with your relationship. And before I start this, I want to say that the breakup urge, so the urge to, I just have to break up right now, can actually be a sign or a symptom of relationship OCD. I have videos on that too on my channel, so look them up. Having said that, there are reasons why you might have that urge or why you might have thoughts about breaking up. And the first is you are afraid of connection. And this is kind of the core of the fearful avoidant attachment style, that you want connection, but you're also very afraid of it. So that's why when you are in a relationship with an emotionally unavailable partner, you won't have this urge to break up because the connection is not naturally there. So you are not triggered in your fear of the connection. You have to work for the connection with an emotionally unavailable partner. So you are in control. But when you are in a safe and happy and loyal and committed relationship, the potential for connection is always there. And that can trigger that fear of connection. That can trigger that fear of having somebody come too close. So it might happen that when that happens, when you are in that safe, loyal, committed relationship, and your partner is just there and is coming close or is generally close to you, you kind of freak out. You freak out and you are not sure why, but you just feel like you have to get away, run away, or just break up. And that might be because you're actually quite afraid of that same connection that you so crave. And this is not something that you will consciously think like, oh, I want to break up right now because I'm afraid of connection. The thoughts you might have is, this is not right, this is not feeling right, it should feel right, yeah, I should be in love, I should be happy, and you just feel anxious a lot, which is also very, very common in the fearful avoidant attachment style. Which brings me to the second reason. A lot of times, and this is especially true with the urge, the breakup urge that is related to relationship OCD, doesn't mean you always have relationship OCD when you have that urge. But you don't want to break up with the person. You don't want to break up the relationship. You want to break up with fear and anxiety. And that is so logical because it is so exhausting to be fearful and anxious all the time, to feel tense all the time, to feel hypervigilant all the time, to feel like you have to be on all the time. And that's what a lot of fearful avoidants feel. So you just want to get rid of that feeling because fear and anxiety is kind of like a warning signal in our bodies. And your fear brain will tell you, oh, this is the relationship and you have to break up because the relationship isn't right. And that is not necessarily true. It could be that this relationship is wonderful and it has the potential for so much beautiful love, but it triggers a lot in you that makes your body go into a fight or flight state, or makes your body feel anxious or fearful. And because you can't really figure out where it comes from, or you haven't figured out yet that you were actually triggered, your fear brain just connects it to the relationship, because in a way it is, because your relationship or your partner is triggering that old pain, that old trauma. But it's not that the relationship is wrong, it's just that that pain and trauma is coming up to be healed. So it is very logical that you might want to break up because you're just so done with the fear and the anxiety. But it is not a solution for the long term, because chances are quite big that you will encounter this in the next relationship until you are healed, and until you heal this fearful avoidant attachment style, which is so doable, which is so very doable. Then the third one is the third reason you might want to break up that have nothing to do with your relationship, is that you are afraid to hurt them in the future. And you might recognize this. You have thoughts about it having to be perfect because what if later on you find out that this is not the one, and then you have to break up, but then you're married, or you have a house together, or you have kids together, and then you have to hurt your partner, but you also maybe hurt your kids, and that can't happen. So you have to know for sure right now. And that can actually lead to you thinking, well, I just don't, or feeling like you don't want to deal with it at all, and wanting to break up. You just don't want to hurt your partner in the future. And so it is the safest to break up now, because then you can't hurt them in the future, even though your relationship now might be wonderful or fine. You're just looking for that perfect feeling just to make sure that you won't hurt them in the future. And if you break up now, you feel like you won't hurt them as much. And the longer you are together, the more serious, committed relationship it becomes, the more steps you take towards getting married or having kids, the more you're afraid that you will hurt them. So breaking up now feels like it's less painful than it will be further down the road. And this comes down to not really trusting yourself, not really trusting that you are good enough as you are, and that you have so much in you, to figure things out. If things are not right, are not going right for a minute, you guys have problems, you will figure it out. So this really also comes down to trusting yourself, which is also a very common thing in fearful avoidance, that you don't trust yourself. Then the fourth reason is, wanting to break up is sometimes kind of like a fantasy escape. A relationship is always messy. I think every single relationship in the world is messy, and that can be hard to accept, especially when you have this picture of a fantasy partner. So you have, and a lot of us, and especially fearful avoidance, have that, this fantasy partner that is just perfect, that knows exactly what you need, that always says the right thing, that can make you laugh, that can make you feel safe, that can make you feel secure. And it's a fantasy because in that fantasy, you will never experience pain. You will never experience hurt. You will never experience any negative feelings. And so the wanting to break up and wanting to be with a fantasy partner is actually a way of not wanting to deal with any negative feelings, which is, again, so logical. I don't want you to feel like it. Don't make yourself wrong because of this. It's so logical that you don't want to deal with those negative feelings, because you have dealt with them so much when you were too young to be able to really deal with them, and you've probably haven't learned how to deal with them. So you don't want to have them at all, and that's a coping mechanism, and that's logical, and that's totally fine. And it doesn't work in an adult relationship, in a mature relationship, because those are always messy. You will experience feelings of hurt, you will experience loneliness, you will experience feelings of sadness. It's part of life, it's part of being human. So wanting to break up because you want to be with that perfect partner, that fantasy partner, is actually a way of running away from the realness of a relationship, and running away from negative feelings, not wanting to deal with negative feelings. Which brings me to my fifth point. The fifth reason why you want to break up, which has nothing to do with your relationship, is that you can be quite overwhelmed with it, wanting it to be perfect, and finding so many things that are not perfect, and that you feel like you need to fix, you need to do better, your partner needs to do better, and they don't, or you feel like you just can't anymore, you're just exhausted. And it is exhausting to want to be perfect, to want your relationship to be perfect, to try to control everything. That is exhausting. It is not weird that you want to break up just because you just don't want to deal with it anymore. But again, it's not the relationship. It's not the relationship that causes this. It's your belief, your coping mechanism of wanting everything to be perfect so that nothing bad will ever happen. And that's not on you. That's not your responsibility. You don't have to prevent that. You don't have to be on. You don't have to be perfect. Your relationship doesn't have to be perfect. Your partner doesn't have to be perfect. In order for you to be so happy, and to be so relaxed and to experience so much love, you don't have to be perfect. So I think we live in a society where when you talk about breaking up or when you think about breaking up, people say, oh, well, if you think about breaking up, that's probably, you probably should do that. And just know that that's just such a very one-sided way of looking at it, and it's definitely not the truth. I think there are so many relationships and marriages that have ended that didn't have to end, just because people started thinking about a breakup or breaking up, and they thought, oh, well, then I have to take this seriously. I think it's very good to know that thoughts don't have to be true. I remember when I heard that for the first time, that was like a mind blown moment, which might sound naive now, but I just thought all my thoughts were true, and especially the negative ones, because otherwise, why would I have them? But your fear brain is a strong thing. It's a strong mechanism, and it's just trying to protect you. It does not really care if you're happy or not. That's not its main objective. It just wants to protect you. So it might start thinking about breaking up because of the reasons I just described, which absolutely have nothing to do with your relationship. And whether you've thought about breaking up once or 1,236,000 times, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make it more real. It doesn't make it a bigger thing. I probably thought about breaking up a million times when I was in the crash state of my fearful avoidant attachment style, and I haven't thought about breaking up in 7 years. So the fact that you think about that a lot now doesn't mean that you will continue thinking that, and that will only stop when you break up. I remember thinking that, like, I will only have calm and peace when I break up. And that's actually a sign that you want to break up with the fear and the anxiety instead of, and not necessarily with the relationship. So those are 5 reasons. Do you recognize any of these? Do you have these thoughts of breaking up and these urges? Let me know in the comments below. And I also want to let you know that the online program will be launching in August, and we will obviously dive deep into healing the fearful avoidant attachment style, so that you don't have these thoughts and don't have these urges, because they are just not fun to have, are they? You just want to be completely there in the relationship and enjoy moments, and these kind of thoughts seem to pop up in those moments when you could be enjoying spending time together, or when you're connecting. So I so wish for you that you can just be in that moment and have those beautiful moments more and more and more. I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.